peer review, they nitpick absolutely to the point where, what's the point? They clearly don't want good data being published. So we must not forget that here we've had people who've lost their jobs, being totally targeted. And the big thing is why? Why? And I must say, when you get into a dystopia like this, you have to say cui bono. Who is benefiting it?
An insight I can give you from our investigations, what we've seen in talking to folks, is a very major goal causing this is you cannot create vaccine hesitancy. So anything that, any truth, any injection injury that might alarm the public that just could cause vaccine hesitancy, they'll rely on that. Say, well, no, okay, we maybe should have warned the public. Okay, but had we warned the public, that would have created vaccine hesitancy. And again, because we saved 3.2 million lives, we certainly can't deny people that injection because, okay, I think that is driving a lot of this. And of course, why don't you want to create a vaccine hesitancy? Because you don't put billions of dollars in the big pharma's pockets because they have no liability for these vaccines, and it's just a big money-making center. So yeah, they got the money, and then they buy the ads, and they invest in medical journals, medical associations, medical colleges. That's the grift that's going on here.
My one-sentence answer to that is it is time to withdraw the 1986 Vaccine Indemnity Act.
But no, I agree. I agree. Dr. Aldiri.
Well, I've got a few things I want to get off my chest.
Keep it short.
Yes. So in science, we need to be able to think creatively and talk with each other and discuss things in a civilized manner, with mutual respect and not being dismissed as irrelevant or whatever. And that's a big problem these days. I think some of the issues we're talking about also have to do with informed consent. A lot of things, I don't believe we have informed consent for COVID mRNA vaccines. I do want to clarify, the comment was made that we've been doing mRNA research for decades. It should be clear to everyone the pseudouridine-modified mRNAs were used for the first time in the population in the COVID pandemic. Never before. First time ever. And so, there needs to be more oversight of these things and more modern regulations of what's allowable as contaminants, with the lipid nanoparticles. The comment was made elsewhere about how fast these tumors grow after the COVID vaccines. And I will say that we've known for a number of years, one of my colleagues, Dr. Razel Kurzrock, one of the premier clinical trialists in the world, noticed that people who get cancer immunotherapy, a small percentage of them, their tumors grow. It's called hyperprogression. I don't use the term turbo cancer, but hyperprogression is understood. And there's also pseudoprogression that happens when people get cancer immunotherapy. And you have to tell the difference between those two, because the pseudoprogression is a mass that looks like it's getting bigger because the immune system is fighting it. And so, some of the things that have been reported of these tumors that seem to be popping up and growing really quickly, that may not all be tumor cells that are dividing. I mean, it's the immune cells that are going in there. You get these swellings. And in the end, most of us probably carry cancer cells in our body that are being eliminated by our immune system. And so, we just need to understand more. We need to do science. We need to let scientists do science, ask questions. We need to support it. I am all for support of biomedical research. And, if we want to be America first, we need to do that. But the environment is pretty toxic as far as how people are disparaged. I mean, there's certain, you just can't ask the questions.
Oh, I'm glad you brought up informed consent. One of our events, we had Dr. Nana Moon show the package insert for the injection. Great big piece of paper. All was written on intentionally left blank. So yeah, that is not informed consent. You talked about boosting your immune system. I think that's Dr. Sun Xiong's technique with Anktiva and trying to boost T cell production and stuff. Again, these are theories. He's got approval for a certain type of bladder cancer, can't get approval for some other, which kind of is crazy to me. So he's got, I don't know how many people on the waiting list. They've got to go to LA to get treated. So I mean,
I, like many of my colleagues, believe the immune system is our last hope if we're going to cure cancer. And by the way, we discovered a drug. We did basic science that was funded almost 20 years ago. The drug was approved for treating brain cancer, and it boosts our innate immune system. The same type of natural killer cells that Dr. Sun Xiong is trying to use to help patients. So,
and most chemotherapy knocks out T cells, right? I mean, it really harms your immune system, correct?
They do, but there's also data, when people have combined chemo with immunotherapy, and I've asked this question, 10 years ago, it doesn't make sense. And then the answer comes back, but the data shows it works better. So, we have to be open-minded about what's observed, and the data speaks for itself. Yes, of course, the immune system is so important. It's known people who are immunosuppressed are at risk for cancer. People have had organ transplants. You stop there, or you take away their immunosuppressive agents, and their immune system comes back and can eliminate the cancer.
Okay. Dr. Molstrate.